Stand by to launch FanStream Sports.
3, 2, 1. Let's start.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it is so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by. Now, here's JP.
All right, welcome into a Tuesday edition of the JP Peterson Show. I am your pissed off host, JP Peterson, along with my good friend IndyCar Tim Ham from our Dallas affiliate at FanStream Sports. What's up, Timmy? How are you this morning?
Good morning, Tampa Bay.
Good morning, Tampa Bay.
There's a lot going on in Tampa. There's a lot going on in Dallas, but nobody cares about
sevens,
Dallas.
weather on the nines. Here we go.
Traffic and weather on the nines.
This could be a big day in Tampa Bay. This could be a big day.
You're predicting things, aren't you?
I'm not predicting. Maybe I am.
You're predicting or projecting. Are you projecting or predicting?
I'm projecting.
Or presenting.
Presenting. Yeah, we're presenting today. Welcome into the show. Thank you guys for joining us. It's what we do each and every Monday through Friday from 10 to 12. We talk Tampa Bay sports. We talk a lot of Buccaneers. We're going to talk college football today. TJ Pittenger is going to join us from Double Fries No Slaw podcast. Love his podcast on FSU, all things FSU. We'll chat with him about the changes at FSU. We'll get into all kinds of college football, all kinds of NFL, the mess that is there. Your Dallas Cowboys, Micah Parsons popping off. Dak's done. What the? By the time we get there in late December, our Christmas present's going to be a big fat gift wrap W.
Might have Trey Lance under center for the Cowboys by then.
Oh, Trey Lance. Yeah. Think of where the 49ers would be if they saved that draft capital. Think what that roster would look like now if they didn't give up all that. Ooh, wow.
3 first-round picks, right?
It was a lot. Yeah, I think it was something like that. Yeah, just wow. And look at them now. Look at them now. All right, so we got lots to get to, and of course, we love your comments here. And yesterday, Todd Bowles spoke with the media, and I was there along with my brethren. And it was interesting to say the least. And look, I've been doing this in Tampa Bay for 27 years. I've seen a lot of coaches come and go. Been in those press conferences where you just feel it kind of slipping away. You know, you watch the teams perform and you feel it kind of slipping away. This feels a lot like it's slipping away for Todd Bowles. It really does. And of course, I will continue to preface this by saying I love this man and I rooted for him and I root for him and I wish him the best and I want the Bucs to come out of this tailspin like they did last year. Mm-hmm. I don't think Todd Bowles can do it. I think myself and a lot of Buck fans feel the same way. And I never, ever root for anybody to get fired. That's not what we do here. We always want to see guys succeed, especially locally. But there comes a time when you just feel like you're constantly rowing against the tide. You're just constantly, and things are snowballing the wrong way. And it's very hard to get out of tailspins like this in the NFL because every week's a dogfight. Every week is a freaking dogfight. And it's such a competitive league, and everybody has talent, and everybody has great coaches. They have unlimited resources to scout and come up with game plans. And if you're not constantly evolving and changing and staying ahead of that curve, you're falling behind. You're falling behind. And it really feels like to me that it's getting stale for Todd Bowles. Now, this is, I'm going to play this real quick. This is I posted this yesterday, got like 28,000, engagements and a lot of conversation, which I'll read some of the comments here. And it's interesting in some ways, and I'll tell you, and I'll put it in context for you. This is at the end of the press conference yesterday, and we asked Todd Bowles a lot of different things. But this is at the end of yesterday's press conference. Hopefully I'm picking the right one.
Chat with the owners at all after yesterday's game? Was there any conversation that?
Well, chat later today and tomorrow. Anything else?
That was it.
That was short and sweet.
Chat later today and tomorrow. Of course, that was yesterday. Now, yes,
like an exit strategy.
Now, well, and yes, they meet with the owners every week. They don't meet with them twice, as far as I know. Even in the bye week, there's not 2 meetings. There's one.
Mhm.
So for those of you, my friends, will they meet with him every week? I know that. And I didn't ask if they meet with him every week. What I asked was, did you meet with them after the game?
Right.
Because I had a reason for asking that. Because as I was walking out of the locker room, we talked about this a little bit yesterday, Todd Bowles was walking towards me and he was pissed. And obviously after a loss like that, he was really pissed. He was more pissed than he normally is. At least that's how I read his body language. And as soon as I walked through those double doors, where the coaches' kind of office is, and where the coaches are, and I saw Ed Glazer. Now, by this time, you rarely see the owners around. After wins, after losses, you rarely see them. They're usually getting in their cars and they're gone. Kind of in the same area, but they're not in the locker room area. And I saw Jason Light, who normally is not in that area, and Ed Glazer and Jason Light were having a very spirited conversation. And they both looked really, really pissed. And of course they would be after a loss. But I'm just reading the tea leaves, everything, and all these things come in. Not one thing is, tells me, oh, this is going to happen or that's going to happen. Not one. It's a combination of a lot of different things. And as I said, we've been doing this a while, and it's just struck me. The body language of everyone just struck me as very unique. And then you look at the circumstances that surround where this team is right now. This was another question that I asked Todd Bowles yesterday. I'm going to play this one as well.
To make that happen, what happened internally? How do you replicate that?
Last year's
We
turnaround.
maintained who we were. We stopped making less mistakes. We stopped making less mistakes as the case is this time around. We got to make less mistakes, especially in finished ball games. That's really all there is to it.
At the end of
So less mistakes, be who we are, stay who we are, just less mistakes. If that's the message that he gave to ownership, it's not going to fly. It's not going to fly. There's just no way. Think about this. This team was 3-1, right? Big win over Detroit, big win over Philadelphia, big win over Washington. They're playing really good complementary football. And, listen, every team has injuries. And listen, I've said it many times, and if I'm an owner of this team and I watched what happened with Mike and Chris, you can debate the decision making all you want. The bottom line is they were bad decisions, and they turned out very, very poorly for your franchise. And if you're the owner, you're putting some of that on Todd Bowles. I would have to absolutely believe that. I haven't asked Joel or Brian or anybody, but that would be my guess. And I think that's fair. You look at where the Ravens are. The Ravens and the Bucs, courtesy of Greg Auman, another great stat, two that he put out this week. The first one we talked about yesterday, 1,053 instances where teams have averaged over 30 points in the NFL in 5 straight games. The Bucs are the only one to have won only one game out of that. One game. And that's the 2019 Bucs and the 2024 Bucs. Both of them have one thing in common. Todd Bowles as the defensive coordinator. I mean, these are numbers that the ownership sees and looks at. Okay? That's tough to swallow. And then this one, the Bucs and the Ravens have basically the same numbers for the past 6 weeks. The Ravens are 5-1. The Bucs are 1-5. Well, they got Lamar and they got the numbers are the same, offensively and defensively, almost identical, within a few yards. That's game management. That is game management. That's game management in numbers. Those are proven numbers that you can see that just say, what are you doing in crucial situations that are making you lose this game? Well, your corners are playing 15 yards off, and when you're supposed to be keeping players in bounds to use timeout and use clock. It's a simple cover 2 zone defense, corners in the flat, make them catch the ball in play and tackle them. This is not time for man-to-man defense. What are you doing? What are you doing? Tackle them in bounds. Pretty simple stuff. Nope, not the Bucs. They're just allowing easy out patterns, soft coverage, get out of bounds, 4 seconds, give you 8 yards. 4 seconds, give you 8 yards. When you only got to go 30 yards, well, because you would have had gone 35, but you effed up the kickoff because somebody doesn't know the rule and you can't move before the guy catches the ball. Oh, my God. So now it's even easier. This is what poorly coached teams do time and time again. You can go back to both Atlanta games. Opportunities galore to win games. Yes, the players aren't making plays. I agree with that. You need players to step up and make plays. But you also need coaches to put them in the right positions to do so. And you need coaches to, maybe it's we're constantly talking about coaches making bad decisions. Shouldn't we ever be talking about, well, that was a great call. That was a great call. Look at what happened there. That middle screen to Rachaad White was a great call. Would have loved to see that first and goal from the 8. Nope, we're going to run it twice up the middle with Rachaad White, our third best back. If you are going to sit there and tell me that was Liam Cohen's idea, I'm not going to believe you. I'm not going to believe you. Sorry. Not going to do it. Not going to do it. It's just, you're playing, as Baker Mayfield said after the game, your own quarterback said it. You got to play to win. Got to play to win. 2 runs up the middle with your third best back is not playing to win. That's playing to, we got to milk the clock. Got to get the clock. We can't leave them with any time. Yeah, true. Can we get both of these things accomplished? We're professional football players with one of the best offenses in football, even without Mike and Chris Godwin. Look, the game management at the end of games is crucial. The great coaches do it. The poor coaches do not. It costs you wins. And there is no way this team should sit here at the break 4-6, given what we've seen from this team. Hell, the Falcons just lost to the Saints, who, by the way, fired their coach and got a little bump, didn't they? A little bit of bump.
With their coordinator.
With their coordinator. That's right. That's right. Little bump. So I'm going to sit here today and do something I hate to do. And that's say, in my opinion only, and it pains me to say it because I love Todd Bowles so much as a human and respect every bit of him as a man, as a father, as a role model. Awesome dude. But it's a tough business in the NFL, and he is not getting the job done. And when the narrative constantly goes to decisions of the head coach time and time again, then I've seen this far too long. And as I said yesterday, and the great General Patton said many years ago, paraphrasing, if it must be done inevitably, it must be done immediately. And if I'm the Glazers and I own this team, I'm transitioning them from a defensive head coach to a offensive head coach. The thing that everybody is looking for in this league is young offensive head coaches, preferably from the Sean McVay tree. We got any of those around? Wait, whoa, who's that? Who's the guy over there in the corner with one of the best offenses in the league, and that lost 2 of his best players, and they're still putting up points? Who's that?
Already in the room.
He's already here? Oh, we don't have to go find him and get him and pay him.
Already in the room.
Already in the room. Oh, well, is he ready? Is he ready to be a head coach? I don't know. I don't know. So, and I said this on the show yesterday, I don't think he's ready to be head coach. And then I did some digging yesterday. I was over at One Buck Place, talking to media folks, made some calls. You know what I heard? Liam Cohen's a take charge guy. He's a take charge guy. And he's shown a lot of, let's just put it to you this way. The people that I talked to said they think he is ready to be a head coach. He's young. He's energetic. He's offensive minded. He commands the room. I heard the guys talking last night on Monday Night Football about young coaches, and Sean McVay in particular. He's been in the room with Sean McVay a lot. Sean McVay trusts him. Sean McVay thinks he's a really smart guy. Sean McVay did not want to leave him to Kentucky, so much so he brought him back. Sean McVay loves Liam Coen. And Liam Coen is highly respected, and now giving his first chance as a primary play caller half a season, I don't think anybody who has any sense at all would say, it's average. No, it's good. It's been really good. It's been really good. And here's the other part of it. As I say, everybody's looking for that. When the 6 to 7 vacancies open up this year, like they always do, who's going to be high on the list who just had a top 5 offense in the league? Who's that going to be, Timmy?
Liam Coen.
That's going to be Liam Coen.
I don't agree with that, but
right.
But that's the trend in the league.
That's the trend in the league.
It shouldn't
Absolutely.
be, but it is. So
I hear what you're saying. So do you want to, if you're the Glazers and you're sitting there right now and you've just chatted with Todd yesterday and you're going to meet with him again today, that was the old, we met with Lovie Smith. What's your plan? We don't like your plan. The next day we meet with you, you're fired. That was the end of the season. The Glazers have never fired any NFL coach in the middle of the season. They've done it, I think, 3 times with their soccer team and just recently.
Yeah, but that's not a real sport, so it doesn't matter.
Right. Just as an aside. Do I think the Glazers are going to do it? If I were them, I would do it. I'm not going to sit by, even with what happened last season, and Todd turned it around. And he gets full credit for that. I asked the question, make less mistakes. I don't know. I just don't get the feeling it's the same vibe this year. And part of that is because you don't have, Mike's hopefully coming back. You don't have Chris. It just seems like a different vibe this year because of the end of games. Because of the end of games and the fact that last year's defense was a lot better. This defense is the worst. It's 31st in almost every category in the last 5 to 6 weeks. And it doesn't look like Todd Bowles has any answers. And when he says, yesterday in the press conference, he talked about, no, guys are supposed to be up on the line. Well, if you can't get guys to do what they're supposed to do in crunch time, that's on the coach. That's on the coach. Inevitably, it's on the coach. We can't keep saying miscommunication. We can't keep saying mistakes. Good teams don't make mistakes. Good, well-coached teams don't make them. And Todd's the first one to say we got to coach it better. It's not like he's laying all the blame on the players. He's laying the blame on himself too. And he's right. And again, these guys are highly compensated. They're going to be fine. If Todd were let go, he'd have, a couple of years to go watch his kids play college football and make tons of money and eat lots of milk and cookies. He's going to be fine. He's going to be fine. I had a weird thought yesterday. And somebody jogged my memory and said, what about bringing the old man back? I'm like, the old man? Bruce Arians?
That ship is sailed, though, right? Organizationally.
I think so. I don't know. It wouldn't shock me. And I don't think it's a horrible idea.
What's he doing?
Because he didn't get fired. He didn't get fired. He was ushered out. And that guy that did that ain't around anymore. Well, he is, but he's up in the Fox booth. So I was like, oh, that would certainly put a jolt back into this team. It certainly would. I don't know if Todd would like it. I mean, that juxtaposition would be kind of weird, but it'd be better, and I'm talking about keeping Bowles on as DC and bringing Arians back. I don't know.
Yeah. See,
that's crazy.
But see, here's the problem with that, JP, and I was going to get into that in a minute, but since you brought it up, do you want a defensive coordinator, regardless of if he's a head coach or not? Do you want a defensive coordinator whose defense is ranked 31st in the NFL, who has allowed 23, 30, 31, 41, 27, 36 points over the last 6 games?
No, and then last week, they allowed 23, but they
wanted
missed 3
5
field goals, and you gave up 415 yards. So if you're going to say that was a good defensive performance, I'm going to have to respectfully disagree. They scored when they had to at the end of the game. Yeah, two big drives that they had to have. They scored with ease, by the way. They did it with ease. Mm-hmm. So, it's not always about the points on the board. It's you think that was a good defensive performance, 415 yards, 353 yards passing. I mean, come on. That was a terrible defensive performance, and you didn't get it done when you needed to. in the end. So, I mean, did you stop CMC a little bit? Yeah, he hadn't played all year. You held him 3 yards a carry. That was a good job. But Brock Purdy did whatever he wanted, whenever he wanted. So, no, it was not a good defensive performance. It was.
No,
not.
I don't think allowing 23 points is a good defensive performance in the league.
I mean, if in a vacuum, 23, when you're scoring 29, that works out. That math works out with me.
Sure.
But that's the thing. You're scoring points, but you're allowing points too.
Yeah.
And you're in every one of these games, and it seems every decision you make is the wrong decision. Of course you go for 2. My God. How do you not go for 2? And there were some reporters there last week. I have a friend that works in Kansas City, and they saw the Glazers after the game. They were pissed. Of course they were. Monday Night Football, you got the champs on the ropes. You go down there and score? 1-for-1. Are you kidding me? If you're the owners, I'm surprised you didn't fire him right there. Think about it. It's because you got to put yourself in their position.
Yeah.
Monday Night Football. It's everybody's there. You're down on the field before the game. Everybody's, your team's playing pretty good. It's a big one for you tonight, isn't it, Ed? Yeah, it is. Hey, Brian, just Taylor Swift's right over there. Oh, wow, look at all the ESPN people. Look at all the celebrities here. Your team's on Monday Night Football. Yeah, you going to win tonight? Yeah, I think we got a good shot. Yeah. And you're watching this whole game unfold, and you're like, oh, my God, we're going to win this game. We're going to walk out of there, and I'll see Taylor and good game. We won. I mean, think about the emotions as an owner, right? And then you see that, and you watch them go right down the field, and you're just like, are you kidding me? And then you come back the next week, and you're first and goal at the 8. You got to get a touchdown. Rashad White into the middle twice. And then the defense that he's in charge of just fucking lays down, man. I was just watching the all 22 of that drive, and I'm like, what are you doing? You got 41 seconds left. They got one timeout. Make them catch the ball in the effing field of play. You don't play 15 yards off and let them get an easy out and walk out of bounds and stop the clock. Put a corner on
the worst zone defense I've ever
sideline.
seen in my life.
Are you kidding me? You're a defensive genius? Well, come on. And it pains me to say this stuff about Todd Bowles. But what are you, if you're the owners, are you going to sit by and watch this week after week after week? It doesn't change. He's so stubborn. He doesn't make changes. KJ Britt should not be playing there anymore. My God, where are the adjustments? Even if you do something different, listen, and that's just the fans. Imagine if you were invested in this team to the tune of billions of dollars. And oh, by the way, You know what you're doing right now? You're selling suites, and you're asking everybody to re-up for next year. All the letters have gone out. All the conversations are going on with the season ticket holders right now. And you're like, and by the way, you hadn't played very well at home. And it's been really hot this year. You're asking people to come out of pocket for a lot of money, and you got 1:00 games in September. You're frying your ass off. 50-60% of the stadium is the other team. And I got, fans texting me in the press box, JP, this is awful. I'm surrounded by 49er fans, and it's hot as hell. And I mean, come on, folks. This is a business. This is a business. You can't sell tickets in this environment. It's a tough sell. It's a tough sell. This is, and if I'm the Bucs, and I'm gonna sit back and watch this thing play out, and is there a chance he turns it around? Yeah, they did it last year. Is there a chance he does it again?
Zero chance.
Do you want to be sitting there as an owner at the end of the year and say, why didn't we make the move at the bye? And you're sitting there and you fire Todd Bowles anyway, and Liam Cohen's already out the door to another team because his agent's already talking to other people looking for head coaches.
Mm-hmm.
Or do you want to short circuit that right now and hire him as your interim and have a great chance to keep him on or maybe even make him a contract offer right now. Is it premature? Absolutely. 1,000% premature. 1,000%. But the alternatives to me, and I've thought them all through, the alternatives is Todd Bowles turns this around, they get to the playoffs and make a run like they did last year. I just don't see it with this defense. I don't see it.
And if you do that, what are the chances next year you repeat the exact same process? You start out of the gate slow. Your defense sucks. You still can't play zone defense.
Or start fast and then go into mid-season tailspin like you do every year. Yeah.
I mean, and you're gonna go through the same rigmarole all over again, and then you're gonna address the same question: should we fire him this year? And then you're gonna question that at the end of every season. Well, he really came up. We won a playoff game. We beat the Lions. We beat the Eagles. Whoever it is. So let's give him another shot. Maybe he's figured it out. And then the same exact thing, you're going to start 4-1, then you're going to lose your next 5.
Who's your offensive coordinator, by the way, Tim?
Because he's going to be gone.
It's gone.
Yeah,
you got to go find another one. And it's just they'll keep revolving door of offensive coordinators.
Yeah.
So, when you think this through, and I'm sure the Glazers are doing that more than myself, because if I did a lot of thinking about this yesterday and a lot of talking to people. And you keep coming back to the same answer. And if I'm the Glazers, you found a diamond in, I don't want to say a diamond in the rough. People know who Liam Coen is, and they certainly know who he is now. This is not just smoke and mirrors. He's done a pretty damn good job without Chris and without Mike Evans, I think. Although the offense was not great. 215 yards this week is not great. But they had a chance to win the game, and they had a chance to win the game last week. And Liam Coen wasn't given the opportunity to call a 2-point play.
So, and look,
and I don't believe he was given the opportunity to call those first couple plays.
No, because Liam Cohen's not going to make the decision to go for the extra point. That comes from the coach. And I guarantee you, Liam Coen had to play. He had to play because that's what you do on your 2-point conversions. You have those plays set aside where you can get 2 yards when you have to have it in a goal line situation, and you save those for your 2-point conversions. I have no doubt Liam Coen had a play in mind. He already knew what he was going to call because that was the sensible thing to do. And when he got the call, hey, we're just going for 1. I guarantee you, Liam Coen was like, "We're what? We're going to do what?" Okay. So here's my thing though about Bowles. And look, we've done this now for 2 years. You can start fast. You can have a tough stretch down the middle of the season, finish hot, but it's the same narrative at the end of every season. Look at all of the questionable coaching decisions he made during that tough stretch that you had in the middle of the season, and even in wins. Okay, sometimes they win despite his poor coaching decisions.
That's right.
Those have not changed. Those will not change. And when you look at the schedule, when you look at the record, I know you've lost what, two games in overtime. In one-score games, you are 1-4 this year.
That's right.
What do the good coaches do? They win those one-score games. Look at the Chiefs. Andy Reid may be the best coach in the league right now.
Yep.
And it has been for a long time. They've won all of their one-score games. They've won all of their overtime games. Of course, week 1 with that Baltimore game, that was sketchy with the foot on the line, right, by Isaiah Likely. Could have gone either way. But you know what?
And they block a field goal Sunday.
But you know what? You won.
You won.
So that's the difference. I feel like the good coaches figure out a way to win those one-score games.
That's right.
They put themselves in positions at the end of the game to win. Whereas the coaches maybe that aren't so great, I didn't want to say bad, but that aren't so great, you're the one trying to catch up at the end of the game. You're down 2 touchdowns. You need 17 points in the fourth quarter to win, and you might get the 14 to put it into a one-score game. But you don't ever get over that hump, right? You don't ever, like I said, 1-4 in one-score games this year. You lost 2 games in overtime. He's turned in his resume. His resume is complete. His body of work is full. You don't have a one-season body of, you've got 3 years now, or 2.5 years.
That's right.
To look at it and say, I'm not doing this for another season and a half or another half season.
That's right.
Let's just see because you got nothing to lose. If you fire Bowles and Coen comes in, what are you gonna play worse? Maybe.
Well, that's
get
what
a
I was
better
going to
draft
say.
pick.
That was what I was going to say, Tim. I said, if they made that move today, do you think there would be a lot of people saying, "Oh, he did it last year. He did it last year. Now you're not giving him a chance to do it this year. Oh, you're going to lose. You're losing that defensive guy, that defensive genius." Like, with all due respect, I don't think that's going to be part of the narrative. I just don't think that's going to be part of the narrative.
Does anyone think Todd Bowles is a defensive genius?
No,
Like,
I think honestly, I think this is kind of a thing that is said around the league that maybe not out loud, just out of respect for Todd, and it just happens to a lot of them. Is, it's predictable now. They know what he's going to do.
Well, and you're a head coach who's also serving as your own defensive coordinator. All right,
I think it's difficult. It's difficult for even the best. It is.
You're not setting yourself up for that.
Yeah, because I'm gonna prove to you that my defense can get a stop.
And that's what you're thinking about while your offense is on the field, instead of worrying about what the offense is doing. And then you're on defense. Now you got to worry about what your offense is going to do also on the next series.
Yeah. I don't think that even if you ask me, and I think if you ask all fans, if you said, what's the better option here, keeping Todd for the rest of the season or moving on to Liam? Everything that I just laid out for the future of this team, everybody is looking for what we have here, and we're staying. And I think there's probably a lot of people that the Glazers trust who are telling them the same thing that I just said, that this is an opportunity right now. And I think think if you did that, it changes everything. I think it energizes the fan base. I think it energizes the team. And this is no disrespect to Todd whatsoever. No disrespect. But am I wrong here, Tim? If they did that, would that not energize this team in the bye week?
Yes. And the only reason
what's the negative? What's the downside?
The only reason you don't make that move right now is if you are still considering bringing Todd Bowles back next year. If you already know you're not bringing him back next year, then why are you waiting?
Last year, if he loses to Carolina in a 9-0 game,
should have been fired last year. Then you wouldn't have Liam Coen.
That's right.
Probably because you weren't going to hire him as your head coach out of LA.
That's right. So
but I'm saying right now today, unless you think somewhere in your brain Todd Bowles is coming back to coach next season, you make the move right now. There's no reason to wait. You have nothing to lose.
And I think this right here from Jew Jetson speaks volumes about the Glazers. If I can get this up. We fired Dungy for less. He's 100% right.
And he was
you fired Tony Dungy, who the Glazers adored at the time, adore still, who made the playoffs, did all that stuff. There just comes a time. And if you say to yourself, well, Todd didn't get a fair chance. Come on now. You're 31st in defense. You're
2.5 years.
You've done this to yourself, and the numbers don't lie. So if I'm the Glazers, I pull the trigger today. And I would not be shocked if they do it, because I know they're pissed. And I just don't see, as I always say, when you're thinking about big decisions like this, and I teach my kids this all the time, upside, downside. What's the upside? Ooh, wow. That young head coach, energizing head coach, commands the room, great OC. Okay. What's the downside? You lose Todd Bowles as your defense coordinator. Okay. All right. What's the upside? You keep Todd Bowles. You see a lot of the same thing. Maybe he makes a bit of a run, but is he ever going to be higher than a 500 coach? No, he's not. That's who he is as a head coach. And there's no shame in that, man. Being a successful head coach there's not many men on the planet that can do it. I certainly couldn't. You couldn't.
It's okay to be a really good coordinator.
It's
right?
damn good.
Guys make great livings in the league being a great coordinator.
And Todd Bowles has Super Bowl rings and he's got it all. He's accomplished it all. He's nothing to be ashamed of at all.
One of the greatest offensive coordinator brains in the history of the league, Norv Turner, was never a good head coach. Great offensive
There's no shame in that.
No shame in that.
None. All right, let's switch gears a little bit and bring in my good friend TJ Pittenger. The Double Fries No Slaw podcast is a favorite of many Seminole fans, and he's got the pulse of the fan base. TJ, what's up, man? How are you, my friend? Do you hear me?
I'm suffering through this year. Yeah. Can you hear me okay?
I got you now. You sound good.
I'm
eyeing that Bobby Bowden
ready to
in
get
the
to
back
December.
corner there. I see that.
Yeah,
little Bobby
that ball's
Bowden.
signed by him.
Yeah, mine.
Yeah.
I got one right back there
You got
too.
to respect the legend.
See that right
Yeah.
there is my Bobby Bowden signed ball right there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
People will be like, I've been doing some national stuff, and people will be like, oh, you got to get rid of all the FSU stuff. And I was like, if you knew who signed that, there ain't no getting rid of that one.
Why would you get rid of it? What are you talking about? You have a bad year. Come on. That shows if you do that, you're like, that shows, in my opinion, lack of character. This is the time you got to stand with your university, right? When times are the most difficult. But TJ, we stand here today with a glimmer of hope, right? The official demarcation of moving on has begun, as Mike Norvell did something that a lot of fans thought he wouldn't do, and that's fire his OC and his DC and Ron Dugan's wide receiver coordinator. And yesterday's press conference, and I listened to it, and I think I heard him say that he will give up the keys to play calling. And I think that's what a lot of people want to hear. Yeah. Did I hear that right? Or did he say that's a possibility? What did you take out of that?
Yeah, I don't think he said like it's 100% certainty, but when he was pressed on it, he did agree like, hey, we're evaluating everything. He called the offense just terrible. He said it needed to change and things needed to get better. And so, yeah, I do ultimately think he will. I think it's going to, if you wouldn't make a move if you weren't going to do that, in my opinion. Like Alex wasn't calling the plays, Alex Atkins, who he let go. And so why would you let him go if you weren't bringing in an OC that could put in their offense and have it be their system? So yeah, it wouldn't make a lot of sense to me to move on from Atkins if that was going to be the case.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, I think he will. And I think he needs to. You need to CEO this thing a little bit more. And that's what I think ends up happening.
Yeah. And also, how do you hire a competent offensive coordinator if you're not going to give him the keys to the car? You're not going to be able to find, nobody's coming in here to be an understudy. And that's not going to energize the fan base. It's not going to show recruits that there's a willingness to change. I think if he did that, that would, and I don't think Mike Alford, the athletic director, left that as an option, quite frankly. And
yeah.
No, would you agree?
The pressure on him is, I think the pressure on him is going to be like, hey man, what we're doing is not working. Even last year with all that talent, they won, right? Like they were winning games.
Mm-hmm.
But I even thought the offense last year took a step back and it wasn't as good as it was in 2022. Mike struggles to me to seem to, not to get so far into the X's and O's, but like he seems to struggle to like scheme guys open. Like I think he likes like one-on-one matchups. And in the NBA, that's great. You one-on-one with LeBron, one-on-one with Giannis, one-on-one with Jokic, like that works. But in college football,
Keon Coleman,
it's so frustrating. Yeah, it's so frustrating that like we give up wide open completions with a talented defense, and our guys are never wide open and really haven't been. Even last year with like Johnny Wilson, who caught a touchdown this weekend, and Keon Coleman, who's lighting it up. Those guys were always just making contested catches.
Right.
And so, yeah, I think Norvell's scheme needs to, one of many things that needs to change. It needs to be a fresh voice in there on the offensive side.
And if you watch every game like you and I do 3 times over the last few years, 95% of the explosive plays were either jump balls or Jordan Travis doing something completely magical that was not in the playbook and making up for a horrible offensive line. And so, yeah, it's got to be different. It's got to be energetic. It's got to be somebody new, and everything has to be overhauled. And to that point, the OC and the DC are going to make their choices to fill out their staff. So we expect more changes to come, correct?
Yeah, I'd be pretty surprised. He's coached at every school in Florida, but I'd be pretty surprised if Randy Shannon came back. I think they elevated him just because he already had the co-DC title, so it was a little bit easier to do that. And then, there could be other changes too. I wouldn't be surprised if Odell Hagen's longtime Seminole retired or moved off field, and I think, I don't know if like both the offensive and defensive coordinator will bring in an entirely new staff. Like you could retain a few members But I would imagine that one of them, whoever those guys are, will want to say like, hey, I'm bringing in my staff with me. And Norvell needs to and probably will say, yeah, that's fine. I don't know that both of them do it. We'll see, what the hire looks like. Maybe it's somebody off of Mike's tree. And so it makes sense to keep a guy or two around. But I would expect anywhere from 2 to 4 or 5 more changes on this staff.
Yeah. Well, it makes sense. I mean, OC is going to want his own offensive line coach. Those things marry together. When you're doing it right, that's the way you do it. So hopefully that's the way it goes. And these hires also, TJ, have to have a very big focus on recruiting, right? You've got to, and obviously these guys are probably going to be recruiting players other places right now. So hopefully they bring their players with them. Our coaches are recruiting players that left, but this class, I don't know if we're going to lose a lot anyway, but you got to have guys that know how to recruit. And I want to say know how to recruit the state of Florida because every good player in this state of Florida is playing elsewhere. We were, thank God the Dolphins won last night because the state was over for the first time ever. And we've got to get back to owning certain portions of the state of Florida and having great connections because, the high school people that I talk to will tell me that Florida State does not have a great high school reputation here in this state anymore. They don't.
Yeah, and when Florida State and Florida and Miami were down and have been down, they have been really struggling to all the good talents going to Alabama and Clemson and Ohio State and Georgia and Texas and a lot of different places. And so Miami is doing a little bit better with it. Credit to Mario, who's a really good recruiter, but still not enough. Even Miami, I don't think is doing enough to keep guys home. They lost the number 1 player to Ohio State and they were close. But yeah, I do think that that's something that really all 3 schools need to get better at. And I will say Napier did a good job of it 2 years ago. They kept a lot of guys home, but they were, mid to high-ish 4 stars. Like nobody was keeping the elite talent home. And, each team has grabbed a guy or 2 here. Like Florida brought in LJ McCray, who was a 5-star last year from the East Coast. And so everybody is grabbing a guy or 2, but man, when this state was really rocking, I mean, and you remember it, everyone was staying home. And I will say this, you're not going to keep everyone home now because of the way that college football just works. Like back then, travel wasn't cheap. Like families couldn't go to games. You didn't see other games. Like we didn't have 17 different cable networks.
Everybody's on TV everybody's on TV.
Now everybody's on TV. So you're not going to keep everyone home, but you got to, really all 3 schools, and especially Florida State, who needs to turn things around kind of more than anyone. You have to, at this point, start to keep some of that talent home.
Yeah, I agree. Let me go turn it back just a little bit because I haven't asked you this. But where did it all go wrong? We've talked about it on this show, ad nauseum, but I like to get your takes. So from 40,000 feet, how did this go from 13-0 to this shit? It's just unwatchable.
Well, how long you got? How long is my?
Can you do it in?
How long is my segment?
3 minutes or less. Yeah. Well, listen. How many shows have you done? You've got the same question, so you should have been well rehearsed by now. My God, come on. Give me your best teleprompter speech here, Kamala.
Yeah. So
sorry, I'm kidding. I didn't mean that. I didn't mean that.
No, Florida State is trying to be unburdened by what has been. Honestly, I think they. Immediately half the audience is enraged. I do think I think that I think the snub really did change the way that just the entire outlook and approach for this team happened. Everything. And so I do, I'm not trying to blame anybody else. Like would Florida State have still gone to a playoff and won without Travis? Probably not. I can be honest, they'd have had a chance with that great defense, but I think that for 4 years, Mike Norvell preached, if you just do the work, if you just do things the right way, if don't worry about the results, just do things the right way, and we'll get to where we want to go. We'll get to what we want to do. And essentially, they did that. And even after their best friend's leg got snapped in half on live TV, they still did that. And they still put incredible effort in the swamp and then in the ACC championship without their leader. And they found a way to do all those things that Mike said. And when that rug was pulled out from under him, and basically like what he had been preaching for 4 years ended up being wrong, not Mike's fault for sure, right? But ended up being wrong. I don't think he knew how to rebound from that. I don't think he knew how to coach that. And so what really should have happened is Florida State goes to the playoff. They probably lose to Michigan. That's fine, whatever. And I don't think they feel the same need to go out and try to run it back. And they tried to run it back this year and just grab anything and everything they could out of the portal. Their evaluation process this year was not very good in the portal. They kind of looked at themselves as like an Alabama or a Georgia or Ohio State, where they could lowball guys and people would want to just play for Florida State because it was this program. And so they missed out on a lot of their first targets. They didn't evaluate well. They didn't hit well in the portal. And so they had to go to like second and third options. And so if they had made the playoff, I think they would have set expectations a little bit differently. I think they would have said, hey, we're going to focus on youth and then make a real run at it in 2025 again. And I don't think there would have been this need to like reach. I feel like they had to reach in the portal. They had to go get a DJU. They had to go get guys that maybe weren't ready to play at Florida State, Bama cast-offs or whatever. And so I think that played into it. And then at the end of the day, I think there was a ton of talent on that team last year. And we know that. Those guys are balling in the NFL right now. Jared Verse going crazy again last night. And so there was a ton of talent, and it is really hard to replace that. I mean, look at Michigan right now. Like, you know, they're not the disaster that we are, but like it's hard to keep that up. And so, you know, you're replacing that talent. You've got that sucker punch from last year. You reached on some guys. Like, there's a lot of different factors that play into it. But I also think that the talent that was on last year's team covered up some of the issues, right? You talked about offensive line, like Jordan covered some of that up. And the coaching deficiencies that you've had, you also didn't have very good depth last year. And so like the guys that were playing behind all those all-stars looked good in garbage time, but they weren't really as good as you maybe thought they were. And so, again, what went wrong? There's no one thing. It's all those things together to me. And still 1-9 is indefensible. But, you know, if a couple of breaks go their way early in the year, they pick up a fumble against Georgia Tech. They don't have the near pick six in Boston College. They find a way to beat Memphis. If they would have won a couple of those games early, they're probably sitting around 500 right now. But then once the season was gone, it was just like, well, let's just go total youth movement and try and build towards next year. So I don't know, just a massive mix of issues, no one thing, but all of those factors kind of playing into each other have created, really like the worst. I've never seen anything like this.
I've kind of said, you know, last year, if you're honest, and I think you hinted at this, was a perfect storm that came together for 13-0. You know, that wasn't a 13-0 team. Like, right. That was, it was good, but was it 13-0? Was it playoff? You know, at the end of the year, I thought they were, you know, defensively as good as anybody, you know, and they won some games, but listen, you could say that about a lot of teams around college football, which is why I said they still, you know, were there better teams that deserved to be in the playoff? Look, sub Georgia for Alabama, either one. But listen, it was unprecedented. You win your conference, you're undefeated, you go. That's the way it's supposed to work, but it didn't. So I think it was a perfect storm that came together for them to win those games last year, and you credit them for Mike Norvell for doing it. He won 19 in a row. That doesn't happen by accident. You're doing a great job recruiting. You're creating a great culture of guys who play hard and go out there and bust their ass and don't quit. And that's what we saw. And we've seen exactly the exact opposite this year. And I think loyalty played into it. You know, I don't like the fact that you bring in Roydell from Alabama and you hand him the RB1 job. You bring in DJ Dew and you hand him the quarterback job because it's NIL and you almost have to do it. And I think he missed on a lot of those evaluations. And I think it probably, you know, that whole family vibe that he was selling, everybody's like, unless you, and I say this all the time, you're going to bring in a player, he better be head and shoulders over everybody you got if you're just going to give him a starting position. And everybody's got to know, oh, that's a dog. That Jared Verse, he's a dog. That Keon Coleman, he's a dog. Like these guys, Tatum Bethune, oh yeah, that's a leader. He's a dog. I respect that. Marvin Jones Jr., no. Roydell, no. Malik Benson, no. DJU, no. I mean, that's not the same situation. And I think Mike probably learned a lot about that, as all these coaches are learning, right, TJ? There's no template for what's going on in college football right now. Now, 1-9, being the worst offense in the history of college football, that's tough to swallow. But there's a lot of change, and I think Mike just did not handle this well in any way.
Yeah, he seems like a different person since last December, right?
Golly, I was just listening to that press conference yesterday. Expound on that.
And I honestly thought yesterday's press conference was better than the last 10. Like I thought after yesterday, it sounded a little bit more hopeful, but really before yesterday's, he sounded dead. Like I would have been fine if they just stopped doing press conferences. Like as a fan, as a supporter, as a booster, like somebody who gives and cares about this program, I was like, dude, you just don't do them. Like these are worse than the game.
Dude,
yeah,
he can't even
like
speak. It's like a bunch
and,
of getting and I'm like, what?
Yeah,
Like it's not confident at all.
Yeah, and what do you say after 1-9, right?
Exactly.
0-1, 0-1, we're mad, we're gonna be better, and okay, 0-2, like we're gonna fix this thing. But at 1-9, you just kind of say like, dog, why are you still doing these press conferences? Like just call it. Nobody really wants to hear any of the coach speak anyway, and no one wants to see you up there looking like a sad puppy. But I do think yesterday was slightly better because he knows like, all right, well, here's the line of demarcation, right? Like here's where we start to turn it around, and we'll see if they're able to do that, right? Like truth, it'll all kind of come home to roost later. But yeah, it's been pitiful this year on the field and hearing him talk.
Yeah. All right, so let's continue to move it forward. What's the salvage here in these final two games? You got to beat Charleston Southern, and is there any hope whatsoever that you can rise up and beat the Gators on your own field? I keep, listen, I kept saying Brock can't be worse than DJ. Well, he's been worse. Luke is not ready to play. Don't let him play anymore. And that's an indictment on the coaching staff, by the way. If you've been there a year and you can't pull the trigger on a down and out, that's coaching. Yeah. He's not ready. Sit him down. Is it Trevor Wilson, the third guy?
Yeah.
I think that's
Trevor Jackson.
Trevor Jackson. I keep getting Wilson and Jackson mixed up. The kid from Orlando Jones, that was an Elite 11 quarterback. I'd love to see some of him just because the other two guys really can't play. I just because I see freshman quarterback all over this college football game coming in and making plays and doing things. So it's a mindset, and some kids have it and some kids don't. I don't see it in Brock right now, although it's unfair to evaluate him behind this offensive line and this offense. It's just complete garbage. Well, what do you see of the quarterback position moving forward?
Yeah, I mean, I think they're going to continue to rotate those two guys, because I don't think one of them will be on the roster after this year. I think one will transfer. And so I think you want to see if you can find anything out. Now, again, maybe your offensive line does hold up against Charleston Southern. You mentioned these last couple of games, and I don't know how much you really salvage. If you were to somehow win both of them, like obviously you'd feel a little bit better beating UF, but let's not pretend like UF's a great team either. And especially if, Lagway, hopefully he's back just for his own sake. But, if he's there, I think it's going to be pretty tough to beat UF, but I don't know. Both guys will play quite a bit, I would think, against Charleston Southern, and they'll probably look a lot better because just the talent gap. And they're not only an FCS program; they're an FCS program that's 1-9 as well. And so, thank God you're not bringing in a FCS program that's good because you'd probably end up losing. But I think they'll both play in that game, and then in the UF game, is there a chance? I mean, I think there's a chance to beat UF. What worries me about them is their defense. Like their defense is. Florida State's offense, I don't know if they could score if me and you were playing corner. Yeah. And so that's kind of Florida's not been good, but they've got a defense that worries me about. Can Florida State get to 17 points? Like, can you win a 17-13 type game? If so, like, then you've got a chance. If Florida scores 20 or more, I don't see a way that you beat them. And so, that's kind of my thoughts on trying to finish it out. I think you want to try and play conservatively and keep it close and hope you have a chance late against UF. Try and work on as much stuff these next 3 weeks to really try and beat UF, because it's not going to salvage the season. Nobody's gonna be happy with 3-9, but if you beat UF, you remember the old adage, like, I'd rather go 0-11 and
we're going to test that.
We're going to find out how much you really wanted that. So it won't fix everything, but you'll feel better for a day or two. Because you'll beat UF. You'll be able.
It'll be longer than that. Trust me. Yeah, I got lots of friends.
And then they'll fire coaches.
Yeah.
They'll let some more guys go. And so you'll feel better through the next week or two, at least having that on your resume. But I don't know. Maybe I'd give Florida State a 20 to 25% chance. Like maybe if you play that game 4 or 5 times, you win one. But we'll see. We'll see if Lagway comes back. If he doesn't come back, then you certainly have a better shot.
Yeah,
but,
and I think he is. And hopefully,
I think he is too.
They've got 2 tough games before they play Florida State. So there's going to be, they've had a murderous road schedule. I feel for them sometimes. Recruiting.
I don't.
Yeah, that's true. I have to say it on this show though. Recruiting. Your thoughts on where it's at right now? I think it's 11.
Yeah, I
guys.
mean, it's tough. They don't have a very good class right now. They're in the 30s. They'll probably have a couple of decommits. Their quarterback that's committed now, I think he probably ends up at UF. Speaking of them, Tramel Jones. But they have another quarterback that's ranked similarly that they're targeting right now that I think they have a decent shot at. I wouldn't say it's a lock or anything in Carter Smith. And so I think your class is probably, going to finish anywhere from 25 to 40. And I know that sounds like a huge gap, but I mean, you lose like 2 guys or get 2 guys and you make big jumps once you're in that range. And so it won't be a great recruiting class. They may pick up a couple of nice pieces, but they're going to have to hit the portal hard again. And I know that the focus does need to be on high school, but signing day is like 4 days after the UF game. Like you ain't, you're firing coaches, you're hiring coaches. Like you ain't going to be able to develop enough relationships to matter for this class. Maybe you pick somebody up in the late window in February, but again, probably not enough to matter. And so they're going to have to hit the portal and hit it hard again. But then going forward in the 26 class and beyond, that's where the new coaches really need to start making their inroads. And Florida State, with zero effort at all, Florida State should recruit a top 20 class. Now you go 1-9, you're not going to recruit it. But like with no effort at all, Florida State should have the 3rd best class in the ACC. You're going to be behind Clemson. You're going to be behind Miami, but then you should be ahead of everybody else. And it shouldn't be that hard to win in this conference. You should be able to pretty quickly, with just a little bit of competence, get back up to where you're beating just about everybody else in conference.
Is there anybody there on this roster that is an impact player that we're not seeing?
Don't laugh. We have the best punter in the country. I know and he gets a lot of work, obviously. The kicker and punter are really good. I like Lawrence Toafili. He won't be back next year.
I'm talking about moving forward. I'm like, are there any impact players moving forward? Freshmen, sophomores. I mean, the Charles Lesters of the world that we haven't seen.
There's some good DBs. I really like their DBs. They've recruited that position pretty well. And so you mentioned Charles Lester. There's some other guys too that I really like back there that I think they'll be pretty good. There's some good young offensive linemen if they can be developed well. They've actually recruited that position fairly well. They obviously need to hold on to them. But I like the offensive line, and then I do like their young wide receivers. They will get Destin Hill back next year, supposing he doesn't transfer. And I don't have any insight on that. He sat out all year with an injury in the offseason. And then they recruited Elijah Moore and LaWayne McCoy, who are really good wide receivers. So I think they've got some talent there. So offensive line's hopeful. They've got some good running backs. I'll say that too. Sam Singleton and Cam Davis, 2 really good running backs, I think will be good. So running back, wide receiver, offensive line, like with a good quarterback, that could be a promising group. You need to probably hit on the portal on a couple of offensive linemen and then DB. And so, your positions of question are defensive line, linebacker, quarterback. If you can shore up some of those, you could have a pretty competent roster next year.
They go portal quarterback, you think? I think they go portal quarterback.
I would.
Yeah.
I would. I mean, unless you, but you have to, because even if Luke takes like a massive stride forward from December 1st until, August of next year, even if he does, you can't count on that. And if one of the guys transfers anyway, which I suppose one of them will, I'd be pretty shocked if both of them stayed around. You just need more guys in your room. Like you need a veteran presence. I mean, Mike needs to win now. If they don't make a bowl again next year, I think they will fire him. And so, you can't just hope in a prayer that Luke or Brock is ready for next year. And I'd love if one of them is, because that would mean that Florida State's in a much better position. But I don't think you can just chance that. Yeah. You've got to go out and make a splash.
All right, TJ, good stuff. Tell everybody how they can get your great content.
Yeah, Double Fries, No Slaw everywhere, specifically on YouTube, but you can check us out on all the socials, and I appreciate you for having me, JP.
Yeah, good stuff all the time. Thanks, man. Go empty that bottle and to your right there.
Yeah, all 3 of them today.
Partner, have a good one. Appreciate it. TJ Pittenger right there. All right, we'll take a quick break, and we'll come back on the other side and get to some of your comments. Lots of comments on what's going on with the coaching situation. Should the Bucs fire Todd Bowles today in the bye week and move on with Liam Coen? We'll get to those comments. Lots more coming your way here on the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the Jeeves Law Group, JEE veslawgroup.com, the best in all of Tampa Bay. If you have any issues in the legal realm, they will give you a free case evaluation. So why not call and get those legal opinions for free? They'll do it for you. Go to geeslawgroup.com, contact them through the website, tell them JP sent you. Back in 3, stay with us. We've had a lot of fun with the monthly birthstones, and October is no different, where the birthstones are opal and tourmaline. All the colors of the evening sky are captured in the mysterious shifting hues of opal, and tourmaline has a color palette for every mood. Did you know that opals have been cherished for centuries, associated with royalty and good fortune? Tourmaline was once thought to protect against evil and enhance spiritual connection, adding to its allure. And during the 40th anniversary, you can find a special selection of this precious gemstone, from stunning rings and necklaces to elegant earrings and bracelets. Of course, Steve Weintraub handpicks every piece for its brilliance and quality. The expert staff will help you find the perfect gift, whether it's for a loved one, a special occasion, or a treat for yourself. Visit the Gold and Diamond Source today, where you'll always find the perfect gift. It's more than jewelry, it's love. Hey, it's football season, so we welcome back the FSU Football Report every Monday and Friday on the JP Peterson Show, sponsored by those huge FSU fans at Italiano Insurance. They'll save you money as well. Just do a quick insurance checkup, 813-877-7799. They just saved me $500 on homeowners insurance. Who's doing that? Yeah, they just shopped it around, found a better, cheaper company, and we got a cheaper price. And business insurance. Make sure you're covered or you could lose your personal wealth. That's 813-877-7799. ItalianoInsurance.com. Go Noles.
Hey Tampa Bay sports fans, this is two-time LPGA major champion Jane Geddes here. After winning the US Open and 10 other LPGA events, I wanted to try something completely different. So I came right off the top turnbuckle and landed in the crazy world of WWE. And yes, you heard that right, that's WWE. Working for the Vince McMahon as the VP of Talent Relations for the company. Now, though, I want to work for you. Everything I've done in my life, I've done with incredible passion. And now I've turned my focus to leading the best real estate team in Tampa Bay, the Geddes Gordon Group with Keller Williams in South Tampa. If you're looking for a new home, an investment property, or looking to sell your current home, we will give you major championship level service. When you choose Geddes Gordon Group, you become part of our inner circle, like family. So if you're looking for a few golf tips or a golf course view, we're going to stripe it right down the fairway. Call me at 813-485-6808 or go to gettysgordongroup.com, or again, give me a ring at 813-485-6808.
JP here for Third Generation AC and Plumbing. And Third Generation really says it all, folks. The owner, my friend John Rodriguez, has been in the AC and plumbing business since 1995. They built their business on honest assessments and doing great work on time for a great price. Simple, right? Did you know many AC techs are incentivized on big commissions to sell new AC units, and you might just need a drain cleared? So if you want someone you can trust, that's John Rodriguez and Third Generation Services. Check out the 5-star Google reviews. If you have a plumbing or AC emergency, call 813-961-8024 and a human will answer the phone. That's 813-961-8024 or go to thirdgenerationplumbing.com.
Ciao, Paolo Tini here, owner of Caffè Paradiso, one of South Tampa premier traditional Italian restaurant. We were recently voted number 3 on Open Table list of Tampa Bay's top 10 restaurants. We're very proud of that because we take great care of preparing each dish by hand with homemade sauces, pastas, only the freshest local ingredients. You won't see the big institutional vendor trucks pulling up to our back door. We get our seafood from local vendors. Sometimes I even drive out to Topper Springs and pick out our daily catch right off those boats. So stop by and say hello. Try our traditional lasagna, the fresh veal, some of our signature dishes like capelli al granchio, that is angel hair with lump crab meat, our branzino, that is a sea bass. We're located at 4205 South McDill, and you can make a reservation on Open Table and read all the great reviews. See you soon. Ciao. Grazie.
Let's go. Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the great folks at Italiano Insurance. They've been with us for over 13 years, and we've been with them for a long time as well, as have so many Tampanians. If you have any issues with your homeowner's insurance, going on, you want some customer service, maybe just a couple questions to be answered, give them a call, 813-877-7799. And all they ask you is allow them to shop around your homeowner's insurance, auto insurance. Maybe they find you something better, something cheaper. They've done it for me many, many, many times, and so many testimonials over the years of, hey, JP, I walk around. Charity saved me $1,000. It happened with Leo, our good friend Leo Haggerty. Saved him $2,000 on his auto insurance. Can do it for you as well. Italian Auto Insurance, 813-877-7799. All right. So I know we moved quickly into the FSU conversation there, but I think we should get back to what you came here for, most of you, and that's the Buccaneer stuff.
Hey, everybody wants to talk Bucs.
Mm-hmm. Why wouldn't they?
By the way, for all of you Tampa Bay Buccaneers or those you Tampa Bay area residents that are Cowboys fans, we did have some breaking news. Dak is officially done for the season as he has scheduled his surgery to repair the torn hamstring that is ripped off of the bone.
Wow.
So he's done. So we got Cooper Rush, who went 4 for 11 for 45 yards. We've got Trey Lance, and we just signed Will Greer, the great Will Greer, to the practice squad.
Will Greer.
Yeah, he's been here 3 or 4 times. But he's always there. He was with the Giants,
Gators.
I think, for a minute.
Wasn't he?
He's a Gator.
He's a Gator, yeah. No, and the Giants. Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the Cowboys should be cooked by the time we get there. I think that's December 14th or 24th.
Mm-hmm. Day before Christmas.
22nd.
Yeah.
That's supposed to be a Sunday night game. It is no longer.
No, they'll flex that. Yeah.
They'll flex that out. Yeah. So all right. Maybe I'll have to make a quick December trip to Dallas.
You should
come see you guys. I enjoy going to AT&T Stadium. They have one of the if there's any press box food that rivals the Buccaneers, it's Dallas. That is a well-stocked press buffet, my friend.
Oh, it's freaking astounding.
Do you go to every home game?
Not every home game. No, I can't fight traffic for that.
Yeah.
But I go to some of the select games.
That is a bit of a disaster.
But dude, no, they're spread there. The prime rib carving station. It's
nice. It's very nice. All right, let's get to some of these comments.
By the way, before we move on from Cowboys real quick, the Cowboys did hang a banner Sunday, just so everybody knows. After the game on Sunday, we did hang another banner. Of course, it's not a Super Bowl banner, but it's this banner, JP. First team to trail by 20 or more points in 5 straight home games. There you go. There's our new banner at AT&T Stadium.
Speaking of FSU, yeah. Wow. Nathan Elliott says this morning, slipping away for Todd Bowles, players have not given up on their coach. That's true. That is true. But for how much longer? Baker Mayfield, we got to play to win. Listen, if you don't think Baker Mayfield wanted to go for 2 and probably some different play selections, first and goal at the 8, when you got to have a touchdown to win the game, you're crazy, because he did. And, when he comes into the press room and says you got to play to win, I think you guys can read between the lines. It ain't that hard.
And it's something other than Rachaad White up the middle, right? I mean, there's other play calls that we have. Right. So we have something other than Rachaad White up the middle, I think, in the playbook.
Third best running back up the middle. I mean,
why is he getting so many carries?
You know where we saw a lot of that? Last year with Dave Canales.
Yeah.
What's the constant? Todd Bowles. Yep.
Shouldn't Bucky be getting the majority of the carries every game?
Should Ton Tucker, the NFC Offensive Player of the Week, who had 200 yards from scrimmage in the only game you gave him a bunch of touches, get more than 0?
I don't get that. I mean,
say it out loud, people. What are we doing?
Don't get it.
What are we doing? Nathan Elliott says there are 11 other teams that have records worse than the Buccaneers, and their coaches are more likely going to get fired.
I mean, Dallas is losing their coach.
Christopher Cole, the Bears fired their OC. Shocking development. So wait a minute. If you rank worst in what you're doing, you get fired?
No, not in Tampa.
you're a defensive head coach, which is a liability philosophically in the NFL. But if you're going to do it, you're going to do it because the guys play hard for him. They like him, and it's a good defense. You know, the first two true, the second one not so true. And yeah, sorry. Nathan Ellis says there'll be more coaching changes made prior to Bowles getting fired. We'll see. Bucks Raising Bolt says hope Bowles gets fired before we lose the OC. Well, I think that's what you're trying to do here is head that off at the pass. Lonnie Wilkins says, before I get out of town back to Chicago, I managed to snag a piece of the Tropicana field roof that was hanging out of a dumpster. Wait, they're selling these things for $5,000 and you're grabbing it out of a dumpster? I just like the fact that Lonnie Wilkins is going dumpster diving. All right.
Why would someone pay money for a piece of the Tropicana
It's history,
roof?
bro. It's history.
It's bad history.
Yeah.
It ain't like it's a piece of Thurman Munson's helicopter plane that he crashed. Which was also a thing.
Yeah. Well, it's history. It's dubious history. Rick says the same stupid-ass decision to all-out blitz to allow Rams to win the NFC Championship game after big comeback. Oh, yeah. Remember that? Blazers don't want take fire bowl. Blazers don't have what it takes to fire bowls.
Maybe.
Yeezy says the Great Wide Open, which is the new name for Bowles' defense. Into the Great Wide Open. Bring in Robert Saleh as defensive coordinator. So fire Bowles, bring in Robert Saleh, and hire Liam Coen.
Well, now you need another offensive coordinator, though.
No, Robert Saleh is the defense coordinator.
Right, but I'm saying if Liam Cohen's the head coach, now you need an offensive coordinator.
No, he stays the offensive coordinator.
But we don't like that, JP. We don't want that. I mean, but he has to. He has to at this point. Yeah, you can't.
Yeah, I mean, at this point. But this is the thing, you know. You look at Andy Reid. You look at Kyle Shanahan, right? I mean, of the defensive guys, you know, Tomlin is the best probably right now. Who else? It comes to mind. Nobody. What else we got here? Nathan Elliott says to replace KJ Britt, Jason Light has to bring somebody in. Bowles does not sign players to the team. That is correct. And I would say that I think Jason Light should have been a little bit more active at the deadline. I said that on the show. I would have liked to seen him make some moves. But it may go to show you what they think of what this situation is. But isn't part of that having Todd Bowles as the head coach? Lonnie says, somehow have 49ers fans on my flight from Tampa back to Illinois State, 3 hours south of Chicago.
Oh, wow. Gross.
That's weird.
Yeah, but see, going back to that last point with KJ Britt, Todd Bowles doesn't always play the best players on the roster either. He plays who he is friends with.
I think it was Greg Auman that put this up last week about it's Pewter Report. They had the RAS scores for the linebackers, and KJ Britt's RAS score, which basically is a amalgamation of all your physical traits, you know, speed, quickness of all the shuttle runs, all these different things. They clock you in there, even on the field stuff that they use metrics for. And his RAS score was like in the lower 10%. Whereas Vi Jones, who's not playing, who they just elevated this week's RAS score is like 8.97 out of 10. Like, he's super athletic. Doesn't mean you're definitely going to be a better linebacker, but if you're looking for a fast coverage linebacker, and by the way, Vi Jones, he sparkled in training camp. Like, I was like, when he was playing, obviously against second and third teamers, as a linebacker, he showed great instincts, great speed to the ball. I was like, wow, look at that guy. That guy I think we can work with. And again, you know, you just don't have any confidence, at least I don't, that Bowles, you know, has guys on the roster that he just keeps in starting roles that are playing like crap. Do something different. Tim Haynes says, I saved $600 to $700 before the game. I was shopping for tickets for the next home game. Really glad I didn't pull the trigger. Yeah, that's probably true. And that just goes, and that goes before I get to that. That goes to, like, again, you're selling season tickets right now. You know, the Glazers are here and they've got a whole freaking room full of people that are on the phone talking to their season ticket holders, trying to justify why prices are probably going up because of, you know, everything goes up. And they're like, what? Wait, you know, and they've had all these hot home games, even last week in November, and you're losing these games at home in ridiculous fashion, getting blown out by the Broncos. I mean, that's a tough sell. And again, you know, you want to breathe energy into your life, into your team, and not lose an offensive coordinator who's going to be coveted by everybody else. You missed my impassioned plea to make this move. Refer to the beginning of the show. Michael LaRue says Liam Coen is from New England and he loves Bill Belichick. Maybe he could stay with a head coach in waiting contract. I floated that last week. Belichick comes in, and by the way,
Jerry does that all the time here in Dallas.
Yeah, I wouldn't have a problem bringing in Belichick right now. Was the defense going to get worse?
Oh wow, yeah.
No way. If Belichick came in here today, and he should, you know, scrap the defense and just, I mean, imagine the energy in the room. Number one, and number two, don't touch the offense, leave it alone. Is it going to be 31st in the league? No, it's not going to be 31st in the league, and I would be very interested to see what he does personnel wise too. I don't know. You know, it sounds crazy, but crazy. You know, it sounds really crazy. Super Bowl coach resigning in the middle of the offseason and installing the defensive coordinator as his handpicked successor, and Tom Brady coming back. That sounds crazy. It happened. Can't let Liam leave the Bay. I think the Glazers will do whatever it takes. Yeah, absolutely. I see. That's why I say you think it forward. You know, if you stay with Bowles the entire season, and even if they squeak into the playoffs, you know, they're not winning the Super Bowl. I mean, come on. This defense is not winning 6 out of the next 7 games. That is not freaking happening. It's not. And then you're going to be sitting there trying to find a new coach, and Liam Cohen's probably going to be on the market. Just saying. Tampa guy says they should have made the move after the Kansas City game.
Probably.
You know,
can't argue with that.
You say no. Let's get to the bye week, see if he can beat the 49ers, and then, you know, more crazy coaching decisions in that game. Jeremy Lowe said, who would run the defense? Foot, Rodgers? I don't think it would be any better than Bowles calling the defense.
It's going to be worse.
That's the thing.
It's not going to be worse.
It can't be worse.
No.
It's been the same thing for 3 straight years. That's what really, you know, kind of bugs you, is like you would hope that you would start seeing Todd develop as a game manager and start winning these games. Start winning the games. You're 1-4. You're 4-9 in the last 2 years in 1-score games. You're 1-4 this year, and it's getting worse. It's not getting better. Tony Dungy's record with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers was 54-42 during his 6 seasons as head coach. Point.
I mean, he still was fired.
Yeah,
I guess is the
exactly.
point.
Yeah. Okay, and you think the defense staff can coach any better than Bowles? I don't know, and we don't know. We don't know that.
But can they coach worse than Bowles?
Yeah,
probably not.
You know, like maybe bring in Robert Saleh to run the defense. You know, or Bill Belichick.
I hadn't thought of that, man. I wouldn't have a problem with that at all.
No, get a new voice, just something different. Get them going. You know, I don't believe that the best personnel is being used in this situation. And just from a concept standpoint, they're just, I mean, I was watching the all 22 of the last drive, and it's just incomprehensible how you can there's no challenge to it. Yes, he blitzed, he came after him, but in that situation, you don't need to do that. It's 41 seconds left. No, I mean, yeah, I'd like to see you heat him up a little bit here and there, but what you can't allow is just easy outs, non-contested throws. Like Brady said, I should have counted it up, but I'm just anecdotally, I probably said it was 10 to 12 times during the broadcast. He goes, you got to be more competitive in coverage. And I asked Bowles that yesterday. Why are guys so freaking wide open? I asked him that in 2 different ways. And he said some of it's scheme, some of it's players. And I tried to drill in on that. It's like in his own defense, why are guys not closer to where the receivers are? And he's just said, well, they're not in the right spots.
Well, whose fault is that? It's the coaches. Yes.
Yes. You could. Well, then get them in the right spots.
And why are your corners playing 15 yards off of the line of scrimmage when it's 3rd and 6?
Yeah, it makes no sense. And he said because they were told to play up, but they didn't. They didn't get that, and it was communicated. They're nervous or whatever. I never heard that before in my life.
What? Come on.
What he said yesterday. They're nervous. Michael LaRue says when Andy Reid told reporters that he was glad that Bowles didn't go for 2, the media room started laughing. Bowles' decisions have become a joke. Yeah, we played that sound.
Jesus.
Todd Bowles always says we need to coach it better. He never says I need to coach it better. Well, I think that's what he means. He takes the blame, but he's right. You need to coach it better, and you're not. Like, constantly, you're not. What's up, Island Boy? Haven't seen you around, but like your emoji there, whatever that is, your profile pic. It's an angry lion. That looks like Ed Glazer going after Todd Bowles. Todd states it's very Jared Jones like.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what have they won since 90s? Nothing. Squat. Michael LaRue says Bowles can't blame the players. He has had a heavy hand in picking the players since 2019. Plus, he always says that he likes his guys. That's a great point, Michael LaRue.
Yeah.
Because I see a lot of people trying to shove the blame off on Jason Light. But you're right. Todd Bowles has had a huge hand in drafting a lot of these guys. I mean, he's in the room, and they put a lot of draft capital into that front line, and it is not good, not especially on the edges. These defensive players need a wake-up call and a new voice. That's what I see. Christopher Cole says Larry Foote and Casey Rogers could take over till the end of the season. Yeah, and again, does it go backwards? I don't think so. Christopher Cole says Cowboys should tank and draft Shedeur Sanders and hire Deion Sanders as their head coach. A lot of talk about that.
They're talking about that here in Dallas, too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what he said. Coach the Cowboys.
Oh, yeah.
What about Prime to the Cowboys?
I don't want any part of it. I don't want Shedeur Sanders here. But you know what? At this point, I mean, what are you going to do with Dak?
I mean, what he just signed.
Hey, by the way, you know what Dak's cap hit is next year? $90 million.
How is that possible?
$90 million.
Is that if you moved on from him, or just
yes?
If you moved on, you'd have to eat $90 million.
Yeah.
Well, for 1 year with a rookie quarterback, I guess,
Look, I'm not done with
Shedeur and Prime.
Dak is not the problem here. Dak is not the problem. He has played terrible this season. There's no question. But we've seen him be better. He is not the problem.
That banner, how about this one from Rick? If they only use that banner to block the sun, they may have won on Sunday.
You know what, Rick? You get this because you are accurate, sir. Yeah.
Wait, what is this? Bears report Leon interview for the OC job. He's not interviewing in the middle of the season.
It's a lateral move. You can't do that.
Yeah, you can't do that. Sanders going to the Jets, or maybe. Hey, well, again, if you're the Bears, do you fire Eberflus?
Sanders isn't going to a cold. He's not going to a cold weather team. He won't go to New York. They've already said this.
Well, hello, it's called the NFL draft. He doesn't have any choice.
No, I'm talking about Deion.
Oh, Deion. Oh. Well, is Rick talking about Shedeur going to the Jets?
He just said Sanders. So I don't know. Supposedly they're a package deal, all right? Which I don't believe.
How does that work?
I don't think that's true.
Well, how does it work? It's a draft. You don't get to choose where you go. Well, I guess you can Eli Manning it and John Elway it.
Unless you're John Elway or Eli Manning, you can pick where you go.
Well, Prime's going to try to play that card.
Yeah,
like he's going to say, whoever gets let's say Carolina gets the first pick again. He's going to say, we ain't going to Carolina. Don't pick us.
Mm-mm.
And he'll say us, by the way.
Yeah.
He'll say us.
Oh, Deion.
Right? He will. And he'll say, yeah, we'll just, we'll hang out. We'll play college football again, or we'll go play D-League basketball or some stuff, and we'll go back into the draft. And he means it too.
Mm-hmm.
He may have a little bit more sway than I think because it's Prime. I don't know.
It's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
Never really seen this before.
It's cold in Colorado. They will hold out. Does he have any eligibility left? Shador?
Well, that's a good question.
I mean, with COVID, everybody has like 9 years.
Everybody has, yeah.
Yeah, so he has a COVID year, so he could come back and play and make money, by the way. He can make more. I think it's been reported he's making $4.4 million this year. Which, that's leverage.
Oh no,
That's
it says
leverage.
it's his final year of eligibility in 2024.
Okay. All right.
Started his football career in 2021 as a freshman, so COVID doesn't apply to him in 2020 because he wasn't in school yet.
Oh, okay. All right.
That makes sense.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay. Well, if he's played 4 years, redshirt. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, the redshirt year. Yeah. I guess so.
He started as a freshman, so he doesn't have a redshirt year.
Yeah, I got it. Yeah. Okay. So no more eligibility, but again, he'll find a way to do something.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. All right, we'll take a break. Come back on the other side, and we're going to get into some more college football stuff, and go over a couple more things with the Bucs. Tristan Wirfs, we got an update on his injury. More of your comments and whatever Tim wants to talk about this morning, which is always interesting. Stay with us. Hey, it's football season, and we welcome back the Gator Report every Monday and Friday, sponsored by the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVES lawgroup.com. Just go to the website. You can contact them through there. Scott Jeeves is a tremendous, aggressive attorney and a big Gator fan, so we appreciate him supporting this show and, of course, your Florida Gators. They are local, they are trusted, and they get results. Whether it's personal injury or anything else, any law matter at all, it's the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVES lawgroup.com. Give them a call. Tell them JP sent you. All right, this is for all you guys who don't want to go to the gym and do 5,000 crunches. At Bay Area Modern Medical Center, you can get on the new True Body machine where you can reduce fat and tone up your muscle. It's like doing 54,000 crunches in just 15 minutes. Define your body as you see fit. True Body offers personalized muscle stimulation that delivers the equivalent of those 54,000 crunches in just 15 minutes. Just get in touch with them at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. Chris Lugo and the team over there will set you up on True Body and get amazing results. Non-invasive with comfortable and little to no pain and zero downtime. You can isolate and target those areas that you want to improve and treat multiple areas simultaneously. It's an amazing machine, so check it out at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. JP here to ask the question, are you planning an event, meeting, or conference? If so, you'll want to call the designers and production professionals at Extravaganza Productions Incorporated. With over 35 years of experience in the events industry, designing and producing every type of small to large event, they can provide a huge resource for design ideas, audio, visual, sound, lighting, decor, and entertainment to turn your event into an incredible experience for the entire audience. Folks, I've worked up close and personal with this group at many national events and Tampa events, and they have unique capabilities that help you save time and money in the planning and execution of your next event. Don't delay. Call these pros today at 813-621-4700 or check out their website at extravaganzaproductions.com. Tell them JP sent you, and they'll provide a free initial consultation for your event. Extravaganza Productions, the best in the business. Golfers, listen up. The hottest new driving range craze has come to Rogers Park in Tampa. The Top Tracer range is now open 10 to 9 p.m. And just like you see on TV, every shot is tracked for yardage and accuracy, giving you immediate feedback. And best of all, you can virtually play the top courses like Pebble Beach or St. Andrews with your buddies. Plus, great food and drink options available in the well-appointed hitting bays. Very comfortable out there. Reservations highly recommended, starting at $25 per hour, including balls. Reserve at RogersParkGolf.net. That's RogersParkGolf.net. See you there.
Let's go. Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show here on this beautiful, beautiful Tuesday. Monday Night Football last night. Did you watch the Rams?
I did.
Go down to the Dolphins saving face for the state of Florida.
What a snoozer. Yeah, Florida was 0-11, right?
And
the Dolphins saved the 0 for the first time ever.
They did. I want to get into a little bit of that, what's going on in the state of Florida. We're brought to you by the great folks at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. Concierge medicine is where it's at, folks. These big insurance companies do not have your best interest in mind. You'll get 15 minutes with the doctor if you're lucky. He'll write you a script and get you out the door. Physicals don't even happen anymore. They're not asking you about your sleeping habits. Is your doctor asking you about your sleeping habits, how you work out, what you eat, all these things? Because it's important. Your supplements, all those things, your blood work. So he's spending an hour and a half going over your blood work with you and talking about what you need to do better to stay healthy, just to be healthy. No, he's not doing that. Chris Lugo does that at Bay Area Modern Medical Center. So you can have insurance, but have a concierge medicine doctor directing your medical care. That's the way to go in the future. And that's Medicine 3.0 at BAMMC.com. Give him a call. Tell him JP sent you. Yeah. So the state of Florida, like I've obviously been doing this, since 1986, covering sports in the state of Florida, starting in Tallahassee, and then the last 27 years here, with a couple of years in Greensboro and a couple of years in Atlanta. So being in other places, I understand what, high school football is. I've covered a lot of high school football in the state of Florida, and the athletes are tremendous. The coaching is fantastic. Although I would love to see Florida coaches be able to make money like Texas coaches do, like Georgia coaches do. I think that would be nice to see, that these coaches can finally make some money and be, paid what they're worth. Because I think that we'd have better coaches and they would stay in Florida, and that would help. But as far as what these teams are doing now and why they're so bad, if you look across the state, at Florida State, we just went over why they're so bad. At the University of Florida, recruiting has been an issue as well. Their biggest issue has been finding a coach. They have just not been able to find a great coach. And look where they've gone to get their coaches. McElwain was at Colorado State, right? Sunbelt Billy was at Louisiana. That's not necessarily dipping into the deep water. Now they went and got Dan Mullen from Mississippi State, who's obviously an SEC school. His record better than the other ones, but still not an iconic coach, right? They haven't really plucked somebody from somebody else. Like Alabama goes and gets Kalen DeBoer, who I think is a really good coach and has won at every level and went to the playoffs. Mm-hmm. Florida State went and got Mike Norvell from Memphis. By the way, his staff, Alex Atkins was the offensive line coach at Charlotte. If you're FSU,
that powerhouse, right? That football powerhouse.
Yeah. If you're at FSU, you need to be, fishing.
Were they the 49ers? Charlotte 49ers, I believe.
Yeah, I believe so, but not the 49ers that we saw this week.
Right.
Adam Fuller was with him in Memphis. Memphis never had a good defense. They won games with offense, Mike Norvell's offense. So Adam Fuller has been, I don't. Corey Long, who comes on here all the time, who knows a lot about he's been talking about this for 3 or 4 years since he hired the staff. He was like, well, they didn't hire anybody that recruits well in Florida, so I don't like the staff. They didn't hire, all these coaches are not that great. And then of course we go 13-0. I'm going, you're wrong, Corey. And now he's like, I was right, JP. I think he was. And that's true.
That was a good impersonation of Corey too, by the way.
Yeah, thank you. And he was 100% right. 100% right. These guys, they went out and recruited great players. They, still you go 19-0, there's something there, but boy, were they exposed. Really good coaching staffs do not dip like this. They're not pleased. And I think, frankly, they got lazy in their evaluations. A lot of L's here. They were lazy. They were too loyal to certain people, to NIL guys that they brought in. They were lazy in their evaluations. Are these coaches going out and really watching these players, or are they just recruiting from lists? So much of the recruiting now is done by list and video, huddle, and seeing these kids on video. Guys don't go out and watch Friday night high school football games anymore, or go to their coaches, go to the practices like they used to go to, because they feel like they can just get it done. I can tell you this. If I'm recruiting players, I got to see them with my own eyes. I don't think videotape does it justice. I need to get better angles. I need to see the kid. I need to talk to the kid. I need to talk to the coaches. I need to talk to his – and they still do some of this, a lot of it, but clearly their evaluations have been way off in their high school recruiting and their portal recruiting as well. So I think high school recruiting has got to get better in this state for all of the main players, and that goes for USF, that goes for FSU, that goes for Florida. You're the TJC, even Miami's not doing it like they used to. And I understand. Look, 25 years ago, Ohio State, they wouldn't even come to Florida because, Bobby Bowden had 14 assistants that were loyal to him that never left for those 14 years. They were there all the time, and then suddenly they started at the end, the Chuck Amatos, the Brad Smith, they started getting picked off, to go to other places to be head coaches. But for a long time, Wally Burnham, all the, Mickey Andrews, all these coaches, and those coaches would be out on the road scouting these players, making their own evals and bringing in, and 85 to 90% of their class was from the state of Florida, and they kicked ass. And they don't do that anymore. And I think they need to get back to some old school recruiting and get relationships going with these high school coaches to keep these players in the state of Florida. That's where it all starts and ends. They've got to hire better coaches at the top, and they've got to do a better job of recruiting. And I think it starts and ends right there with those two things. With NIL, Florida State's got plenty of money. Miami's got plenty of money. Florida's got plenty of money. USF needs more money. UCF needs more money. But it's there as they grow, right? And with this new, House settlement coming in, supposedly every team's going to have $22 million to pay their players or whatever it's going to be. So things will even out a little bit for everybody. So, and I, as the college football czar, if I were a czar, I would blow the whole thing up and make a lot of changes. First of which would be delineate the teams. I'd have six conferences, 12 to 16 teams each, to have however many you want. So you cover most of the ones that are already in the major conferences. And then you could even have, 2 or 3 sub-conferences that are the relegated conferences. And you can move up and down based on relegation as to in your geographic area. So the bottom of those conferences, if it's a Southeastern Conference, Vanderbilt goes out, Memphis comes in, depending on how they play. And I'm just using these as, it stays all geographic.
Right.
We get back to the old Oklahoma, Texas A&M, all the geographic rivalries. You can even bring back some of the old names, because college football is all about nostalgia. Then I have two free portal that you can go to. One is a free one. You go. The second one you transfer in the portal. You got to sit out the first 4 games. So I need to limit what's going on here. You can have a third in a hardship situation. You have a hardship committee that can deal with that. You got to slow that down. From a financial standpoint, scholarship players get the same amount of money. And you basically have a salary cap for all these teams. There's a bonus pool for performance, and there's a bonus pool for coaches selection. So coaches can hand out, $4 or $5 million in bonuses. And then you can reach bonuses by getting to certain levels of productivity. Coaches' salaries, head coach gets capped at $5 million. I'll move it up for inflation every year. Assistant coaches capped at $1 million. Administrators capped at $1 million. Commissioners capped at $1.5 million. I just saved so much money right there, and that would end all these ridiculous buyouts that you're forced to do because of Jimmy Sexton playing the market. That's going to save colleges gazillions of dollars that can be poured back into the player pool. What did I miss? Did I miss anything?
Are you going to have any type of situation where that's different if a coach leaves a program? Will that be a special exception? Yeah, or you have a special transfer, or do you have to use one of those other scenarios?
I think there's a special transfer allowed if that would be in the hardship category. Okay. Where the panel, the blue ribbon panel of coaches and players will decide, if you can go. And I would be, towards the lenient side on those for the most part. You can see if guys are program hopping, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm going to tell you this, a lot of this is for the player's own good. A lot of this is for the player's own good, to make them think long and hard about whether they're going to use that first one, and then long and hard about whether they're going to use that second one. Okay. And you're probably not going to get a third. And I think that's good. It adds stability to the system. And it's better for the players to sit and fight and fight for your job instead of, just willy-nilly leaving every time a coach looks at you cross-eyed.
Yeah.
Have any other problems with my system?
I don't have a problem with any of it.
Yeah. Let's go.
I don't think the system will like your cap numbers, but that's the reason they're there, right?
If we're capping player salaries, why can't we cap coaches' salaries?
Right.
And by the way, we're going to do that media deal is going to be one deal. It's not going to be every, hodgepodge, all this other stuff, blah, blah.
Right.
Still have a 12-team playoff, 6 conference champions, 6 at large. Fair?
Yeah.
Fair. Yeah. I think, and then first of all, if you win all your games, you're in. You win your conference, your championship, you're in. No matter what your name is, you get in your conference championship. 2 highest ranked teams get into the conference championship. You play for it and you're in. And then we take the 6 at large after that. And we play it off. There, did I fix everything?
I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I like it.
That didn't take long.
No.
I mean, seriously, why can't we do this? Why can't we do this? If there's ever been a time to blow it up and start all over and make it right, that's it. Players can. And by the way, as far as NIL goes, that NIL money, frankly, that's completely out of control. I would like to leave some of it for the players, but it's taken too much time. It's taken up, professionals. These sponsorship dollars, for the most part, should be going to the schools and then redistributed to the players evenly.
Right.
I think that's the way it should be. I may have to work on that a little bit, but that's my overall thinking, because now you've got players competing with the schools for the sponsorship dollars, and that's just weird.
Agreed.
And by the way, good news on Tristan Wirfs. This is what they're calling a minor sprain, and he's going to be week to week. I don't know if he'll play right after the bye, but it's certainly not a season-ending thing.
Well, and the bye came at a good time then, right, for him especially.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely it did.
'Cause it sure looked bad when it happened, man. I was cringing.
Yeah. All right, quick break, and then we'll come back on the other side. I want to talk a little Lightning as they've got some interesting things coming up. And speaking of the University of Florida, they have an issue with their basketball program. And for some reason, Todd Golden was coaching last night. I don't really know why. Wander Franco arrested again. We'll hit on that and some other things around the NFL. Stay with us. Quick break. We've had a lot of fun with the monthly birthstones, and October is no different, where the birthstones are opal and tourmaline. All the colors of the evening sky are captured in the mysterious shifting hues of opal, and tourmaline has a color palette for every mood. Did you know that opals have been cherished for centuries, associated with royalty and good fortune? Tourmaline was once thought to protect against evil and enhance spiritual connection, adding to its allure. And during the 40th anniversary, you can find a special selection of this precious gemstone, from stunning rings and necklaces to elegant earrings and bracelets. Of course, Steve Weintraub handpicks every piece for its brilliance and quality. The expert staff will help you find the perfect gift, whether it's for a loved one, a special occasion, or a treat for yourself. Visit the Gold and Diamond Source today, where you'll always find the perfect gift. It's more than jewelry, it's love.
Hey Tampa Bay sports fans, this is 2-time LPGA major champion Jane Geddes here. After winning the US Open and 10 other LPGA events, I wanted to try something completely different. So I came right off the top turnbuckle and landed in the crazy world of WWE. And yes, you heard that right, that's WWE. Working for the Vince McMahon as the VP of Talent Relations for the company. Now, though, I want to work for you. Everything I've done in my life, I've done with incredible passion. And now I've turned my focus to leading the best real estate team in Tampa Bay, the Geddes Gordon Group with Keller Williams in South Tampa. If you're looking for a new home, an investment property, or looking to sell your current home, we will give you major championship level service. When you choose Geddes Gordon Group, you become part of our inner circle, like family. So if you're looking for a few golf tips or a golf course view, we're going to stripe it right down the fairway. Call me at 813-485-6808 or go to gettysgordongroup.com, or again, give me a ring at 813-485-6808.
JP here for Third Generation AC and Plumbing. And Third Generation really says it all, folks. The owner, my friend John Rodriguez, has been in the AC and plumbing business since 1995. They built their business on honest assessments and doing great work on time for a great price. Simple, right? Did you know many AC techs are incentivized on big commissions to sell new AC units and you might just need a drain cleared? So if you want someone you can trust, that's John Rodriguez and Third Generation Services. Check out the 5-star Google reviews. If you have a plumbing or AC emergency, call 813-961-8024 and a human will answer the phone. That's 813-961-8024 or go to thirdgenerationplumbing.com. Hey, it's football season, so we welcome back the FSU Football Report every Monday and Friday on the JP Peterson Show, sponsored by those huge FSU fans at Italiano Insurance. They'll save you money as well. Just do a quick insurance checkup, 813-877-7799. They just saved me $500 on homeowners insurance. Who's doing that? Yeah, they just shopped it around, found a better, cheaper company, and we got a cheaper price. And business insurance. Make sure you're covered or you could lose your personal wealth. That's 813-877-7799. ItalianoInsurance.com. Go Noles.
Ciao, Paolo Tini here, owner of Caffè Paradiso, one of South Tampa premier traditional Italian restaurant. We were recently voted number 3 on Open Table list of Tampa-based top 10 restaurants. We're very proud of that because we take great care of preparing each dish by hand with homemade sauces, pastas, only the freshest local ingredients. You won't see the big institutional vendor trucks pulling up to our back door. We get our seafood from local vendors. Sometimes I even drive out to Topper Springs and pick out our daily catch right off those boats. So stop by and say hello. Try our traditional lasagna, the fresh veal, some of our signature dishes like capelli al granchio, that is angel hair with lump crab meat, our branzino, that is a sea bass. We're located at 4205 South McDill, and you can make a reservation on Open Table and read all the great reviews. See you soon. Ciao. Grazie.
Let's go. Right now. Back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show. As we continue here, there's a beautiful shot of our DSP Media Studio in Dallas with the great Tim Ham is there. I'll be back in our new South Tampa studio tomorrow. Hoping to have BJ Daniels in this week to our studio. He had to cancel on us last week because he got an invitation to the Derek Brooks Invitational Golf Tournament. I'm like, yeah, I'd take that for you. That's a fun day. That's a lot of fun. By the way, breaking news, according to Adam Schefter, upon appeal, NFL hearing officer Jordy Nelson has rescinded the $16,000 fine levied against Ravens linebacker Roquan Smith for his alleged unnecessary roughness on Chris Godwin on the play that ended in the Bucs wide receiver dislocating his ankle, per source. Yeah, people said this was a hip drop tackle, and I went to I went to school on the hip drop tackle that was given by the NFL officials, and they showed all the different plays, and I said that didn't look like a hip drop tackle to me at all. And that's what they fined him for it. And they said it was a hip drop. And I was like, it wasn't called on the field as a hip drop. And I didn't look like a hip drop. We didn't get any replays because of the gruesome injury. They didn't want to show any replays. Yeah. And the replay and the original up top angle, you're blocked out by Kyle Hamilton. Can't really see the play. And I was, because it looked weird. I was like, how did he get injured there? Like, it was just weird because I couldn't see it up close, and I've not seen an angle up close. But it definitely didn't look like a hip drop tackle at all. It didn't have any of the real markings for it. So that has been rescinded. Does that mean when Chris Godwin gets healthy magically and comes back?
Yes. So that means they get Chris Godwin back now because there was no penalty that wasn't called.
Oh, good. So his leg's not broken. Great. That's awesome.
So they get to fix his leg now, and he'll be back next week after the bye.
Yeah. And, Chris Godwin, I said this when he got hurt, this kind of maybe leans towards getting Chris Godwin back because clearly there weren't going to be the free agent mega offers that were coming his way with a career season at age 29 that he was having. So, bad, but maybe good that we get to hold on to Chris, because I think he's going to be productive into his early 30s. He's that type of guy, although this is his second major leg injury. He had the big knee blowout. And now this, so hopefully
a separated ankle or
dislocated ankle. Yeah, dislocated ankle, broken. I think there was a broken bone in there as well.
Probably a little easier to come back from and service long term than like a knee injury. To me, it feels like it.
Yeah.
It's still going to lock up on you when the weather gets cold, but y'all don't have cold weather in Tampa, so that's not an issue.
Yeah. So we'll see. The Bears fired Shane Waldron, their offensive coordinator. So this tells me Eberflus is probably going to be gone, and they're going to be looking for a what? Young, offensive-minded coach from the
Sean McVay tree.
Like everybody else. We got one of those? Where can we might be finding one of those? Oh, he's right here.
Yeah, but as a head coach, you talking about, or is their new offensive coordinator?
As their new OC. No, I think they're going to hire a head coach and an OC for Caleb Williams. Of course they are. They're going to find the best offensive-minded quarterback who around the league has kind of helped rehabilitate a quarterback and make him better. Baker Mayfield, he looks a lot better this year than he did last year.
You looked pretty good last year too, career year, but he's having another career year this year.
Having another career year, even better. So yeah, I think Liam Coen would be definitely at the top of their list. Would he not? If he takes this, if he continues, and this is with Chris and Mike, they were the number 1 offense in the league. Of course he's going to get offers. You know what he's not going to do? Stay as the offensive coordinator in Tampa Bay under Todd Bowles. That's what he's not going to do. And I think that's pretty clear. Rick says, JP, great plan for college football. Unfortunately, it's like trying to regulate the mafia. Too much money, power, and pride. You're absolutely right. The only way you get to do that is with intervention from the legislatures, government, etc., which is, of course, what they've done already.
Right.
And I think is completely within their realm to do so. Tommy Tuberville, make him the federal overseer of college football.
Something he needs to be. What's Ryan Leaf doing these days? He could probably never mind. It's probably a bad decision. By the way, JP, I went and had Applebee's for dinner over the weekend.
Did you really?
I had
People still do that?
Oh, I love Applebee's. It's right by my house. And I walked in, I ordered me a chicken Alfredo.
Wasn't quite up the Cafe Paradiso.
It wasn't the same, and I ate all of it, but I looked very displeased while I was eating it, and the waitress kept asking me, "Is everything okay, sir?" And I'm like, "Yeah, you know what? It's fine. It's just fine." And I signed my ticket, and I'm storming out, and the manager comes up to me, and he goes, "Sir, is everything okay?" He seemed a little disappointed or a little angry. I'm like, "You, sir, are no Palotini." And I walked out. And I just walked out, left him so confused. He had no idea what was going on. So
this guy has no idea what's going on either. TJ
really doesn't.
Joining us here has no. But I bet he's been to Cafe. Have you ever been to Cafe Paradiso?
I don't know that I have.
South
McGill? You'd know if you did. You'd know if you did.
Oh God, we gotta have a team meeting there.
Yes,
I will say this. I did see the photo of one Tim Ham with Sean Payton at Billy Bob's. I have been to Billy Bob's on more than one occasion. Briefly living in Dallas, I saw Lori Morgan in concert at Billy Bob's on the same night where they had the rodeo there. She was in concert, and there was something else going on, and I'm like, this place is unbelievable. This is like the circus.
Every weekend it's like that down in the
fact
Stockyards.
that this man was hobnobbing at what concert with Sean Payton years ago when he was on his punishment for Bountygate?
Well, I can hobnob twice on this story because it was Sarah Evans, who I used to date.
Wait a minute.
Whoa.
Legitimately? Legitimately.
Yeah.
Suds in the bucket and the clothes hanging out on the line, Sarah Evans?
Yep.
I've corroborated this, by the way.
Her brother taught me to play bass.
Okay.
And this was before she signed her big deal, before she had the up top reduction surgery, and when she was still a little bit pudgy. She was still a little pudgy.
Talk about surgeries that should be outlawed.
Yes.
My God.
But it did not go well. We didn't get along very well. It only lasted a short time, and she went back to Booneville, Missouri, back to the family farm.
Interesting.
And I'd had
And
enough.
then the
and then
studs
she got
were
famous,
in the bucket and the clothes were hanging out on the line.
and she wrote that about not me. So
not you. And she's been married for a while to Jay Barker, the former Alabama quarterback. I don't know if they're still married.
No, they are. So what's funny is she would roll through town all the time to play Billy Bob's. And I'd want to go see Jay. I'm like, the first thing, her brother Matt would always hook us up with tickets, right? Because he was her bass player and stage manager. And so I'd always like, as soon as he'd call me, hey, do y'all want tickets to Sarah? I'm like, is Jay coming? He's like, yes, but I didn't tell Sarah you asked me, because we still really don't. We just still don't get along very well.
Were you friends with? So you're friends with Jay?
Yeah.
All right, that's interesting.
I know three guys. I know three guys from that national championship Alabama team, and I don't even like Alabama.
Well, because another one is your guy that's the former Cowboy Sherwin Williams. Is that who you're talking about?
No, I'm talking about the former Cowboy, Packer, Dolphin, George Teague.
Oh, yeah, George Teague.
Yeah.
Who took the ball from Lamar Thomas.
Lamar Thomas.
Yes. Down the
God,
sideline.
we have just gone down the rabbit hole.
I did a podcast with George Teague. He's still running it. I got him started on his podcast. So
who knew that this connected back to Tim dating Sarah Evans?
Yeah.
These are the things you find out on the JP Peterson show.
Did you know she's not the only country star I dated?
And you're gonna drop
here
another
we
name?
go. Who else?
Leanne Rhymes.
You
What?
and Leanne Rhymes?
She's from Dallas.
Circa what year?
So every country girl from
1999.
Dallas you have to date?
99.
I went out with she was already famous.
Right,
So, yeah.
because she had already, what was the song? She'd already had the hit.
Blue and
Right.
whatever. I don't even
She'd already made it.
Yeah.
How long did that last? You implode relationships regularly. You self-deprecate about this. How long did that one last?
Did you mix Taylor Swift in there somewhere?
About
Because,
6
my
months.
God.
No, I
6
don't date
months
12-year-old
with Leanne.
boys.
All right.
All right.
No, about 6 months.
When I
So-
saw
so that-
Lori Morgan, this was probably 97, and she was dating Troy Aikman.
She was dating
at
Troy
that
in
time.
97, yeah.
How about that? I
Wow.
just thought I would throw that out there.
That's impressive.
So,
company.
JP, I know we have a scant few minutes to go. Have
Well,
we
I was
held
going to
off?
mention my brief dalliance with Gabby Reese, but that doesn't it pales in
Florida State.
comparison.
I don't know about
Florida State
that.
volleyball.
For Florida State volleyball, absolutely. Yeah.
Might need some deets on this.
We
Not right
need
now.
more on that. I know you have a scant few minutes left in the program.
Do you have a
we
celebrity
delayed-
dalliance that you can lay on us?
Have we delayed long enough that you're about to ask me about 4 losses in a row and 5 of the last 6? I think we've
No,
delayed
we're
it
trying to
long enough.
avoid that at all costs. If you can't tell. Yeah.
If I had an explanation right now, I would not be sitting here with you. I'd either be at the window in Vegas on how it's going to turn around,
Mhm.
or I would be down at One Buck consulting them. I don't have an explanation. I have some idea. Obviously, as I said, I'll plug it, the Nothing But Bucks podcast. I said this about 5 times. Magic Johnson made it famous with the Lakers, Winning Time. They made a book. They eventually made a show. What do you do when the game is on the line? I don't think it's profound, but this team has not played nearly well enough fourth quarter, late fourth quarter, or even having to go to an overtime to take advantage of winning time. And there it was again on Sunday, where the 49ers are handing you that game. Take it. We're going to miss a second field goal in the fourth quarter that basically puts the game away. We're going to give you not 1, not 2, not 3, 4 penalties on the final drive. 3 of them are personal fouls. JP, you and I have been around Buccaneer football for like going on 25 plus years. You ever seen a game at Raymond James Stadium hanging in the balance where the other team gives the Buccaneers 4
You
penalties?
get the calls. I mean, the Bucs
You got
never
all the
get
calls. You get down
Never get
inside the 10 and you don't score a touchdown. Again, winning time is my theme. You're not taking advantage of the Atlanta overtime that should have never been overtime on Thursday night. You're not taking advantage of the Atlanta rematch in winning time in the fourth quarter. Chiefs game you could have won. Say what you will about the Chiefs. And now this game Sunday, you're letting games slip away. And a team that could easily be 6-4, maybe 7-3 is now looking at 4-6 going, can we make the playoffs? I wish I had an explanation.
Well, I spent a lot of time, talking about the coaching situation early on, but I can flip that as well in winning time and say playmakers. Playmakers, There's a reason why Christian McCaffrey is one of the best in the game, because he can run a wheel route in the clutch and look up and find that ball that Purdy put right in the right spot. The Brock Purdy, playmaker. CMC, playmaker. Did you see
George Kittle?
Did you see the George Kittle catch in the end zone? I mean, God bless Josh Hayes. He played it pretty well. That's one hell of a throw and one hell of a catch, reminiscent of the one we saw on the other side of the end zone to win a Super Bowl with Santonio Holmes.
Yep.
I mean, that was just in playmakers, Deebo Samuel over the middle. Off he goes. I mean, these guys get paid big money for a reason. Did you see Raheem Jarrett make that catch in the end zone? No, you didn't. Did you see that defensive player jump in front of the ball and make that stop, that diving interception on the last? No, you didn't. They're not making plays to win the game. I mean, you can say,
true.
I mean, maybe the coaches aren't putting them in position to make plays. Maybe they're not saying, go ahead and take that chance and try to intercept that ball. Maybe they're saying play it safe. I don't know. I'm not in the meetings. All I can tell you is I look over the league, and in winning time, I see big-time players making big-time plays. And I don't see that mostly with that.
Very valid. Very valid, because those have been winnable opportunities, with the exception recently of the Baltimore game that was one-sided, and we've discussed that and gone over it.
Yeah.
You've been right there with a chance to win or even leading in the second half going to the fourth quarter of several of these games, and you don't have anything to show for it. So now you go into the bye week. We'll wait and see what that means in terms of health of Mike Evans, which I think will make a difference.
Sure.
What will it mean for this defense? Are we looking at some shakeups on how they play and what they do? JP, I am not revealing a nuclear secret here.
Mm-hmm.
If they don't cover and tackle any better than what we've seen in the last 3 or 4 games, you can forget it. That's got to be better. Letting guys get an extra 10, 15 yards, 20 yards, or get out the gate because you can't get in front of them and can't tackle them, that is fixable. And that better be fixed, or you got big problems.
Well, and I mentioned this, Brady must have said 10 to 15 times on the broadcast, you have to be more competitive in coverage. Guys got to be closer in coverage. Look at that again. Guys wide open. You got to be more competitive in coverage. Why are these guys so wide open? And I asked Bowles that question yesterday, and he told me, I said, it doesn't matter if you play zone or man, your separation between receiver and defender, you're last in the league or damn near it. What's going on? And he's like, well, guys are not in the right places in the zone. They're not aggressive enough. I'm like, I didn't say this, but you're this far into the season. At some point, where are you? Is this a coaching point? Why is it not
you're running out of games to get it right, is what you're saying. You've played 10 games. You got to start getting it right. So we have a bye week. Let's see if they get healthier. And then
that'll help.
Is Tommy DeVito the quarterback? Is it Daniel Jones? I mean, they're screaming in New York for DeVito to play in this game in a couple of weeks because Daniel Jones, it's been pathetic again for this year. And it was even on another continent in Germany on Sunday against the Panthers. Mm-hmm. And that's the second game, by the way. Carolina suddenly puts together back-to-back wins against the Saints, gets Dennis Allen fired, your Aggie guy, Tim.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then they go ahead and beat the Giants over in Germany. Those are not knockover games at the moment with Carolina late in the year. Right. So got to get your act together. We'll see.
All right, partner. Anything else going on in the Reeves?
I think we're good. I think we're good.
Date any celebrities?
I can't say that I've ever. I don't. I dated Mrs. Reeves and we got hitched, and it's 28 years later.
She's a celebrity.
She has still not found a better option 28 years later. I don't know if that means anything about me or if she's not looking hard enough. I don't know. But those that had the under and said it wouldn't last, you lost. It has lasted.
Y'all got kids together. She's not going to break that.
Amen.
That's the only reason. See, that's what you do. You have kids early in the relationship, and now you're stuck.
And look, and listen, and if you'd have followed the path of one Tim Ham, you'd be at Applebee's eating crappy chicken Alfredo. That's where you'd be.
I was alone, by the way. It was dining alone.
Chicken Alfredo, not bad in general, but you're disparaging it at Applebee's. I understand.
Well, it's
no
great at
Cafe
Applebee's.
Paradise, though.
It's no Cafe Paradiso.
I see.
There you go.
Then we come back to that. We come full
The
circle. Listen,
Alfredo
you
is always
guys
positive.
be well. I'm happy to be with you. Thank you for holding out for me for an extra few minutes. I got off the Bet US college basketball show. They love the over in the Duke-Kentucky game tonight. Write it down. They love points in the Duke-Kentucky game in Atlanta, the late night game tonight. That was their play of the day.
Okay.
So pay attention to that. Lots of points for that. And there you go. A little college basketball to close it out.
Make some money. Pay the rent. Thanks, partner. The great TJ Reeves at Buck Sideline guy right there. All right, that ought to do it for this incredibly entertaining program that we've had for you today. You got the Wheel of Death there behind you? What is it? What is that?
The Wheel of Misfortune.
The Wheel of Misfortune.
Yeah, we'll go over that maybe tomorrow. I'll go over it with you tomorrow. We'll talk
All right,
a little
let's
bit
do
about
that.
it and why we have it.
Let's do that.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you guys for jumping in here today. Don't forget, we do this each and every Monday through Friday live from 10 to 12. Please like and subscribe on our YouTube channel, Apple and Spotify as well. You can listen to it anytime, folks. So if you want to listen in the midday or the afternoon drive without all those commercials, you can do it right there. Just go right to Apple, Spotify, like and subscribe, and check it out anytime. And download the FanStream Sports app as well. You can listen to us on that and all our great shows. Have a great day, everybody. See you tomorrow.